It wasn't the massive argument about the mortgage that drained you today. It was the way they casually suggested that expensive new restaurant downtown, completely oblivious to the fact that you've been silently recalculating your savings in your head, terrified of saying no. You smiled and agreed. You told yourself it is just one dinner. But right now, as you sit there looking at this screen, you are carrying a quiet, heavy resentment that you refuse to name. You are pretending that financial boundaries do not matter in love. You tell yourself that being flexible makes you a good partner. But the current transits suggest this exact avoidance is about to fracture your foundation. If you ignore the friction building beneath this polite smile, you will end up paying for this dinner with your own self-worth, and the resentment will quietly poison the romance. Take a slow breath. Drop your shoulders. We need to look at why you are absorbing this cost, and who is actually coming to relieve you of this burden. The planetary architecture today is forcing a collision between your need for pleasure and your demand for security. The moon is moving through Capricorn, casting a harsh, structural light across your fifth house of romance, creativity, and play. At the exact same time, it forms a tense square to Venus in Libra, which governs your second house of money and personal values. This is not a random coincidence. This is a cosmic audit of your emotional spending. You might think this period in your life is all about how rich or poor you feel in relation to a partner, but it is actually about the depth of the bond. When you both get this right, the connection becomes solid gold. But right now, there is a waiting game. This cycle turns up with mother-son questions and legacies. It brings husband-wife issues with a mortgage or a divorce settlement to the surface. The question of sexual attraction and money becomes deeply intertwined. Creating a budget does not mean abandoning joy. A hobby supply, a date plan, a child-related expense, or a personal treat is asking for clearer limits. This transit is not about draining the pleasure out of the moment. It is about making it easier to enjoy. Set a cap. Choose the option that still feels special, and create without financial static. But here is what the Vedic chart exposes about this tension. The smoke you are seeing in your career is actually a fire waiting to be fed. That sudden interest from a colleague or the extra attention from higher-ups means exactly what you think it does. You could be in for a career-boosting moment if you are willing to spontaneously follow the lead. With the moon spotlighting your dramatic fifth house, a project or presentation could put you center stage in line for recognition. Do not be shy. Slide into their DMs or pitch your big idea to get the momentum started. But that career shift is going to trigger a massive conversation at home tonight, and the way you handle it changes everything. Because the moon is in Capricorn, you are more likely to encounter significant people who will boost your confidence today. They will be enchanted by your abilities to communicate and your capacity to honestly assess the scenario at hand. In order to make a good first impression, make sure you put your best foot forward. Some of these powerful connections may assist you not only professionally but also personally. Make the most of any chances that come your way. Wear blue today. The hours between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. are highly auspicious for you. But let us go deeper into the romantic frequency of this exact moment. You are craving a meaningful conversation today. You may even enjoy a good debate to feel intellectually seen. Yet, underneath the desire for mental stimulation, there is a hidden wound. You feel like you have to prove your value by accommodating everyone else's expectations. You carry the belief that if you ask for simplicity, you will be seen as cheap. You think that if you set a boundary, you will be seen as unloving. This is the hidden wound of your archetype. You believe your love must be earned through endless utility and financial sacrifice. A date may be charming right up until you see the price. The Capricorn moon squaring Venus makes pleasure compete with your need to feel financially sensible. You could agree to the expensive option because objecting feels awkward, then quietly resent every additional order. Suggest somewhere simpler before the reservation becomes a test of generosity. The right person will not require you to overspend to prove your enthusiasm. You should be able to enjoy the evening without mentally subtracting it from next week's groceries. If you are single, you could click deeply with an air sign today. A Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius energy will challenge your mind, but more importantly, they will not ask you to fund their lifestyle to prove your devotion. But pay close attention to what happens when the bill arrives. The real reason you feel exhausted isn't physical. It is because you are carrying the emotional ledger for people who are not keeping track of it. The cosmos is asking you to put the pen down. Your finances look steady, with room for improvement if you make thoughtful choices. Smart savings and travel planning will pay off. Relationships may face small challenges today, but they can grow stronger because of them. The tension you feel is just the friction of outgrowing an old version of yourself. To process this massive shift, you must move the energy out of your nervous system. Stay active today. Even a short walk will do you good. Consider getting your blood and hormone levels checked, as your body is asking for a baseline reset. Your physical vessel needs maintenance to handle this emotional labor. Work stays manageable, but you cannot pour from an empty cup. When you get home tonight, I want you to do something very specific. Do not bring the financial anxiety through the front door. Before you speak to your partner, or before you sit down to plan your week, wash your hands with cold water. Feel the temperature shock your system. Visualize the heavy, unspoken resentments washing down the drain. This physical act breaks the psychological loop of the day. It signals to your brain that the audit is over. You have made your choices. You have set your limits. Now you get to just exist. The waiting game you have been playing with your own self-worth is officially paused. You do not have to earn your right to take up space. You do not have to buy your way into being loved. The people coming toward you right now do not need you to be financially flawless. They need you to be honest. They are drawn to your sharp mind, your grounded assessment of reality, and your quiet strength. When you stop hiding your boundaries, you become a beacon for the exact kind of partnership you have been waiting for. The solid gold connection you are seeking requires the courage to say no to the expensive illusion. Type "I choose real" in the comments right now to seal this energy and declare your boundaries to the cosmos. You are stepping into a frequency where your worth is never up for negotiation. Walk into tomorrow knowing that your honesty is your greatest asset. The stars are not just watching you. They are clearing the path for you to finally be seen.